Come on now, fellas! We've got to answer the bell. Now let's go!
Hello, everyone. Welcome into Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. I'm Chris Yow, joined as always by Maurice Patton, and we are here on this Thursday. It is a heck of a Thursday, opening day for Division I college softball, and we're going to talk about it. It's going to be a good day today, and I'm so pumped because it's beautiful outside. We got baseball, we got softball, we got a ton of hoops coming up. This weekend's going to be a lot of fun and much, much more. But before we talk about anything else, Mo, what's up? How are you?
Doing well. Got to town a little early today. Riley Ham, Columbia Central senior guard, signed with Bryan College this morning, NAIA program over in Dayton, Tennessee. And so came down, and we'll have something on that later on today on Main Street Sports. On MainStreetMurray.com. There we go. But so got the day started a little early.
That's a good day. It's a good
start. It's a good start. Happy for her and her family. And, we talked about Jaden Ham earlier in the week with Chip, and he is probably going to be the Friday night starter for MTSU when they get going here before long. So big junior year for him. So it's big time for the Ham family.
Yes, it is. In fact, yes, it is. Well, we've got a lot to talk about today, and we're going to get to it here in just a few minutes. We've got Desi. Like
Arnaz.
Like Arnaz.
Yes.
Okay. Desi Ammons and Cody Crutcher, the head coach and associate head coach, basically co-head coaches.
They're co-head coaches, yeah.
Well, if you read their Twitter bios, it's Desi different. Says he's the head coach and Cody's the associate head coach, but they're essentially co-head coaches. So maybe we can get them to clear that up for us.
We'll get some clarification on that here in the next segment.
Yeah, we will. So when I saw it, I was like, I thought they were anyway.
Exactly.
I'll just ask them. So they're going to join us, Columbia State baseball coaches. They are taking over for Mike Korn, who recently left and headed to Walters State. We'll talk. Mr. and Miss basketball finalists have been announced. We'll get into the TSSAA polls. They're AP polls, but with TSSAA members. MAREN Angus Combs will join us, and she'll talk softball. NBA trade deadline is getting goofy. So we'll get into that a little bit as well. 100 Miles of Hate taking place in Bowling Green and Murfreesboro tonight, so should be fun. We'll get into a lot today, so looking forward to it. But before we do any of those, we have to give you yesterday's results and today's schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
There we go. In girls high school basketball action on Wednesday night, Laverne defeated Antioch 53-8. In boys basketball, East Nashville down Pearl Cone 70-67, and Antioch with a 54-53 win over Laverne. In Division II, District 3 tournament quarterfinal action on Wednesday night, Battleground Academy defeated Middle Tennessee Christian 77-37. Columbia Academy with a 73-61 win over University School of Nashville. There's coverage of that on MainStreetMurray.com. Franklin Grace defeated Providence Christian 54-49, a little bit of an upset, 5 beating a 4 there. If there's an upset, yeah. And top seed Webb School with an 80-67 win over Franklin Road Academy. In D2 District 4 quarterfinals, Davidson Academy defeated Ezel Harding 74-54. Clarksville Academy with a 75-30 win over Donaldson Christian. Good Pasture defeats Mount Juliet Christian 81-22, and Friendship Christian 61, Nashville Christian 42.
Women's college basketball action last night in the junior college rank. Southwest Tennessee down to Columbia State 60-55, and Dyersburg State took care of Vol State 55-44. On the men's side, at Memorial Gymnasium, it was Vanderbilt 66, Tennessee 65. We'll get to it in just a second. Missouri State edges Belmont 61-59. Columbia State with a big win over Southwest Tennessee, and junior college play 82-56, and Dyersburg State downs Vol State 91-78.
Today's high school basketball schedule, these are double headers. This one starts at 5 o'clock. Valor Collegiate is at Merrill Hyde. The rest of these are 6 o'clock starts. Fairview at Cheatham County, Culleoka at Cornersville, Hume Fall Coast, Liberty Creek. In the last game, last regular season game at the Barn, Loretta hosts Richland. Page goes to Marshall County. Perry County hosts Santa Fe. Lawrence County is at Spring Hill. St. Ridge is at Stewart's Creek. Sam Academy goes to Trousdale County. Waverly hosts Clarksville Christian, and Lighthouse Christian of Antioch is at Zion Christian for senior night.
Girls only action tonight. Republic is at Kip Nashville at 6 o'clock start. There may be a boys game after, but it wasn't on the schedule. Stick around in case they come out and warm up.
Hang out for a couple extra minutes. Yeah.
See what happens. College basketball doubleheaders tonight. Cumberland is at the University of the Cumberlands. That's at 4:30 tip, and UT Southern is at Georgetown. Women at 4:30. Men to follow. Trevecca hosting Findlay at 5:30 in women's play, and at Tennessee State it will be Southeast Missouri State. They'll be in town for a 6 o'clock women's tip. Men to follow. Women's action tonight, Western Kentucky again at the Glass House. MTSU, 6 o'clock. ESPN Plus is where you can see that. Austin P hosting North Florida, also at 6 on ESPN Plus. At 6 on ESPN Plus is Jacksonville at Lipscomb. And on SEC Network tonight at 8 p.m., Vanderbilt hosting Arkansas. Men's action tonight, Middle travels up to Western to take on the Hilltoppers. It's a CBS Sports Network television game at 7 o'clock. Austin P will be down at Tuna, the University of North Alabama, at 7:30 on ESPN Plus, and Lipscomb travels to Central Arkansas for an 8 p.m. tip on ESPN Plus as well. And that's going to do it for your rundown. All right. We get into our top story today, which is, of course, as you can see, Mo, I am a Tennessee fan. I'm a fan of Tennessee. All teams in Tennessee, yes. No, right? No, I can't do that. Well, it's unfortunate. After last night, it's tough. But I'll tell you, Tennessee goes into Memorial Gymnasium, ranked in the top 10 for the 7th time, I believe, in school history. They come out 1-6 overall in those games, and the lone win was in 2017. A last-second three-pointer goes in for Vanderbilt. They get the 66-65 upset win over Tennessee last night, and really, it might have been the best basketball game that I've seen all year long in college basketball. Put it this way, Mo. Both teams played really well. It wasn't a sloppy game. Tennessee played well. Vanderbilt just played just as good and made that extra play at the end of the game to win it. And, you know, I just tweeted this not a moment ago, but I would almost, if I'm a Tennessee fan, I would almost take that loss given how they played versus the sloppy win over Auburn playing so poorly. But
well,
great job for Vanderbilt.
Yeah, and that's the thing that needs to be said here. Great win for Vanderbilt. Some people are calling this Jerry Stackhouse's signature win at Vanderbilt. I guess. I mean, I'm not familiar enough with who else they've beaten to really make that statement. But, you know, to be the top 10 team is a major accomplishment.
Losing streak.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty big accomplishment for them. And, you know, I don't know about the Vanderbilt program necessarily, but certainly the Vanderbilt fan base loves nothing more than beating Tennessee. So there are a lot of black and gold folks out there and a lot of people that don't necessarily wear their black and gold, but really like to hate on the other team that are really happy today. And so kudos to them. But, you know, Jerry Stackhouse sat Tyron Lawrence after the Alabama game. Is that right?
For one game.
And he's really come back with a vengeance since then. Played really well in the game Saturday and again knocked down the game winner last night. So push the right buttons there.
Liam Robbins, huge last night for the Commodores.
Well, and we talked about him when he was out and how much of a difference he made. You know, he was conspicuous in his absence, basically. And he's come back and made a big impact for them since his return.
Particularly last night from long range, where he increased his total three-pointers for the year by 50%, making 3 last night. Didn't see that coming. And that just in the first half when Vanderbilt is, you know, Tylen Lawrence and Liam Robbins are just knocking down everything. And look, Tennessee was contesting every single shot. It's not like they were getting wide open looks. They were contested and they knocked them down. And you knew at that point what kind of night it was going to be, that you were going to have to elevate your game. Well, Zakai Ziegler picks up 3 fouls. So now you're without your point guard. Now, thank goodness Tyreek Key came to play. Dude played outside of his mind. And, you know, you can say what you want to. Santiago Vescovi obviously missed the front end of a 1-and-1 with 8 seconds to go that would have given Tennessee a 3-point lead and potentially a 4-point lead if he made the second free throw.
And he doesn't miss, man.
Very rarely does he miss from the free throw line. And then he's the guy who comes off Lawrence at the end of the game to give him the wide open 3. I mean, let that guy make the layup. Go to overtime.
Exactly.
Don't give that guy a wide open corner 3. So anyway, but you can say that and be upset with Vescovi if you like, but you also have to understand that between the 30-second mark and the 1.5-minute mark, without his 5 points, you're not in the position you're in at the end of the game anyway. I mean, this is a guy who had the wide open 3 to tie it at 65, I think. Yeah, tied it at 63. Then had the follow-up dunk to go up. And obviously the story of the day is the decision not to not to lay the ball up by 2 with 8 seconds to go. Instead, choosing to pull it out and get fouled. Clock. And I
think it was going to be a contested layup. I did manage to get to a screen by then.
No, it was a wide open dunk. He was 4 steps in front of the guy. If you go back and look at there's a photo, and he's under the bucket by himself. It's a layup. You dunk the ball. And look, I'm not going to crap on the kid. He made a decision. I thought it was pretty, it could have went either way. You obviously feel like you're going to get the ball to Zakai Ziegler or you're going to get the ball to Santiago Vesky, and they're going to make their free throws. But they didn't. And you lost. Fact is, Rick Barnes drew up a play that was a home run ball to basically put the game out of reach. The problem is he clearly didn't say in the huddle, make the shot. You feel like you need to say that, though?
It's kids have lapses. Coaches have lapses. I mean, things happen. It's unfortunate. And it's unfortunate for a Tennessee team that, has had some head scratchers, as someone put it. And now this is certainly another one here. I mean, going into Memorial, especially with them coming off of a confidence booster against Ole Miss over the weekend, that this is going to be a game where you've got to come play for 40 minutes. And right now, Tennessee's not it. Even as a top 10 team, they are not in a position where they can afford to have brain freezes like that.
It is unfortunate because this is a really good team. They are a really good team. Defensively, they're very good. Again, they played well last night. I said it yesterday that when Vanderbilt came to TBA, they played a little bit over their heads and scored 39 points, the most points that's been scored on Tennessee in a half all year. Mm-hmm. And you have to know that Vanderbilt is going to play a little bit harder when Tennessee is in the building.
Right.
And, the worst possible place to have the SEC tournament might be Nashville, as Tennessee is 0-2 in the city this year, again, especially against teams that wear black and gold.
Well, speaking of, they've got Missouri coming into TBA on Saturday for a 5 o'clock Central tip. So that won't be any picnic either. And that's ahead of Alabama on Wednesday.
But at least it's at home, I guess.
Does it matter?
Clearly it does. At least to some degree.
Well, I mean, after they get done with Alabama, they go to Kentucky, who they lost to at home.
That's not what you want to see.
So suddenly this is boding to be a tough stretch for Tennessee.
Not only a tough stretch, but, 2 weeks ago, we were talking about Tennessee and Alabama possibly being number 1, number 2 coming into this game. And
you were talking.
and now you sit here and you look at this and you go, really?
Yeah.
This team doesn't look like they can, that they should be anywhere near the top 10. And yet they beat the brakes off Texas 2 weeks, a week and a half ago.
I mean, again, as we were talking about bracketology earlier this week, they've beaten 2 teams that are projected as number 1 seeds.
And the inconsistency. Again, here's the thing. I'm going to say this one more time. Tennessee played well. They played good. They didn't win the game, but offensively they played better than they've played since the Texas game. It's the best game they've played offensively since Texas. Defensively, they didn't play poorly. Vanderbilt just hit a lot of contested shots. And
well, I mean, let me ask you this, because you say that, and then in the same breath, you say that they're not a team that should even sniff the top 10. I mean, which is it?
Because that was the inconsistency. Because 2 weeks they beat Auburn, but played like crap. They lose to Vanderbilt and played well. So, you watch this team and you you can't put them in the top 10 and feel comfortable that they are going to consistently be a top 10 basketball team. One week, one night, they might look like world beaters. They might be the number one team in the country. They've proved it. They beat Kansas. They they lost Arizona on the road, but who else did they beat? That was the number one seed we talked about. Texas. They beat Kansas. The Big 12 is the best conference in basketball, and they beat the top two teams in the conference. And then they go out and play like crap against Auburn.
A ranked Auburn team, mind you.
At the time. No longer ranked, thanks to that. But they're just inconsistent, man. To me, you got to put them at 15 and just kind of leave them there. 12 to 15. Put them in the middle and leave them there.
I just don't know that there's 15 teams. I don't know that there's 14 teams or 11 teams or whatever better than them.
Today, tomorrow, there might be 47 teams better than them. That's the problem.
But, an equal problem, though, is the reactionary fan base.
Look, there's too many people who are talking about firing Rick Barnes. Do y'all remember how bad and inconsistent this program was for 40 years? No, clearly.
I mean, when you are reacting like this to a 1-point loss to Vanderbilt at Memorial Gym, I think you just kind of got to remember who you are.
And remember where you were.
Yeah, so.
Because as well as I do, there's some voodoo in that place. It's kind of like Jordan Hare.
And as a Facebook friend of mine pointed out, David Williams died 4 years ago yesterday. You want to talk about a little memorial magic on the 4-year observance of his passing. That might have just been might have kind of been like Vanderbilt at Alabama a week ago. Wrong place, wrong time for Tennessee.
Might have been.
So
anyway, Vanderbilt snaps an 11-game losing streak to Tennessee. They get another win over a top 10 Tennessee team at Memorial Gym. It's kind of the way it goes. Just facts.
It's life in the SEC.
Yeah. No kidding. No kidding. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Coach's Corner, and we'll hand out some hardware. So stick around here. Desi Ammons and Cody Crutcher coming up right after this on Main Street Sports Today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow and Mo Patton with you here on this Thursday edition. And it's Thursday, so that means we're talking to coaches, and that's always exciting because it's a pleasure to talk about Coach's Corner, which is brought to you by our friends at From the Heart Cafe out in Chapel Hill. And Renee Hart, the fine folks there, whether it's breakfast, catering, or anything else you might be looking for, check them out. From the Heart Cafe. You can order online as well and go pick it up out in Chapel Hill. If you're heading to Henry Horton or you're just looking for a nice little day trip, it's a pretty drive out there and you can always stick around. But this is Coach's Corner presented by From the Heart Cafe out in Chapel Hill. And on Coach's Corner, we have with us Columbia State baseball coaches. Look at them. That's a nice little catch you got there, guys. Desi Emmons and Cody Crutcher, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
It's good and rustic. We have a bunch of rustic things here at Columbia State.
Rustic. I like that. I like that twist there. Rustic. Okay, so tell us right off the bat, guys. What is the coaching situation between the two of you all? How do we refer to y'all?
I've referred to us as the dynamic duo. Batman and Robin type deal. And you can
who's Batman?
Get out it is, but no, just really just kind of running the ship how we see fit, and nothing much changed, I guess, on the field wise since Mike left us, but definitely taking a hold of the administrative tasks is a task in itself.
How has that been? Like you said, Coach Corn departed last September-ish, I guess, and you guys were kind of thrust into those co-coaching roles. And people talk about making the transition from making suggestions to making decisions. What's that been like for the two of you guys, and how do y'all handle that collectively?
Well, like Coach Ammons referred to, I mean, we've both been here for 7 years. I've been here 8, he's been here 7. And we were blessed that Coach Ammons had been in the student services department in the school. So really the only change has been that we've taken over more of the administrative duties. And Coach Ammons, I mean, he's really good at that. And as it comes to on-field stuff, I mean, it's business as usual. We've been here 7 years. We know what we want to do here at Columbia State, and it's worked out pretty well and pretty seamlessly in that aspect.
Don't know if you'd call it a rough start, but you guys hosted Jefferson College out of Missouri this past weekend, pair of doubleheaders, and dropped all 4. What did you find out about this team this past weekend that you can take to Millington this weekend?
Kind of kudos to Jeffco, and they brought in a really good pitching staff. That's going to help us down the road. I do like how we responded, and a few of those games started out pretty rough. But we played pretty bad, of course. But I think as we move forward, some guys will kind of develop some more roles. We'll be just fine heading into Millington this weekend.
I want to go back to what you guys were talking about in the continuity that obviously having been at Columbia State, you guys, there wasn't a whole lot of hiccups maybe in at least the staff for this team. Now, what was it like going from one coach to the other? Did you guys just kind of let the players do what they continue to, what they had been doing, and just kind of, increase your roles and just let them, or was there more of a shift in what you guys wanted to do?
Well, I'll tell you, we were blessed with this group in the fall. We have 6 or 7 third-year guys, COVID sophomores, and they're in this for Columbia State. It's not one person or the other. They're in it for Columbia State, and they brought the young guys along. And we're also fortunate that me and Coach Ammons took, over the last couple of years, we've taken the primary recruiting responsibility. So a lot of these guys that we brought in were guys that we recruited ourselves. But overall, I mean, as we switched from Coach Corn to us, it worked out really well as far as how the players responded, how they handled it, and it even gave them a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, I think, moving forward.
Now, one of you is a pretty local guy. The other obviously played at Columbia State, Cody, but not from here originally. When you think about the recruiting and all that goes into that, it has to be nice that you have some experience playing at Columbia State and not, having an idea of how to recruit to Columbia State as a former player.
Yeah, me and Coach Ammons both played at Columbia State. I played 09 and 10. He played 13 and 14. So it works out really well. I mean, we have good relationships around the state, around surrounding states. We really cut our teeth at Columbia State, and Coach Ammons can kind of confirm this, is that we've built some relationships with people around that makes recruiting not easy, but it makes it a little bit easier, I guess, for us moving forward, especially the local relationships. Coach Ammons can touch on that as well.
Yeah, and we just the people, the personnel that we have right now kind of still play into how Coach Korn coached and how we kind of followed in. But we've thrown our own little small things that we've wanted to do inside of there that we feel like can be a positive aspect toward the team. And you know, having that background of playing here, knowing what the school means to us and what the program actually means to everyone around this area. In the past 50 or 60 years, it's been very, very good, and we would love to make them proud to be Chargers.
How will folks watching this team be able to tell that there's somebody different in charge, just from the look of it, the way you guys go about your business, strategy, that type thing? Or will they?
I still think it's going to be very similar on the field. It's still going to be a fast, exciting brand of baseball. As far as, I guess, the looseness of the kids and a little bit more kind of sandlot backyard baseball, let's have fun type of stuff, but let's also know what's respectable to the game and things like that. That's probably might be the only difference that you may see. But other than that, it's going to be dirty uniforms, you know, very gritty kids, and just play defense and play hard.
Who's in the third base coaching box?
I am. It may change after these first few games, but we'll see.
How did y'all come to that decision?
I think Cody as an asset in the dugout is very important. My communication that I've had for 6 or 7 years that I've been here with Coach Korn, I've predominantly worked more with base running and things like that, and Coach Crutcher's helped with a little bit more of the pitching side. It just kind of flowed a little bit more that way than it would have the opposite way. So his role there, getting the hitters ready to hit. Hey, here's what's going on with the pitcher. We've seen this thus far. Kind of here's your approach to look for. And then as far as, you know, calling some steals or bunts or things like that, I try to do something that, you know, may spark us, but some of the smarter calls within the game.
I just have one question. Nuremberg, Germany. Austin Davies, what is that like, having a guy from Germany on the team?
Yeah, so he's actually originally from New York, but I asked him, I said, you know, Austin, where do you want to put on here? And he's like, I would love to put Germany on there, Coach. And I said, well, we're going to do it. But I guess he lived there for a little while and then moved over to the States, and he's from the New York State. So just kind of a thing he wanted to have on there to represent where he's from in Germany, and we would acknowledge that for sure.
That's pretty cool. That's got to be a record.
Well, the roster certainly runs the gamut from Germany and from Puerto Rico to Summertown.
That's
So
right.
you've recruited from near and far. But who are some guys that you guys are excited about running out there this spring?
I mean, we have several returners, guys that got significant playing time last year, especially on the pitching mound. We return a lot on the mound, and we've added some key pieces as well. But for the most part, I mean, on the hitting side, we got those 2 guys returning, Ryan Deggs and Abbott Lawrence. They'll anchor the middle of our lineup. When for us to be good, they need to be good, and they know that. And I mean, I think we just have several guys that could be impact guys, and several guys that can impact any game at any time. I don't think we just have one guy, but if we work as a collective unit, I think we'll be a pretty good squad and formidable squad.
Yeah, and just some newcomers to note. You know, Charlie Davis and Jackson Diamond They've shown bright spots in the fall, bright spots so far in these first few games, even though it's early. But they're going to be pretty much staples in that lineup for the foreseeable future.
With a name like Diamond, he's got to be good at baseball, right?
You would think that. He's pretty confident as well, so that's good.
Also, I believe he was QB1 at Science Hill High School.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like those multi-sport guys, huh?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, we've got Cody Crutcher and Desi Ammons, the co-baseball coaches at Columbia State, joining us here on Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe over in Chapel Hill. Be sure and run through and see Renee Hart and the gang over there if you're over that way, or go over that way and see them. Again, Columbia State off to an 0-4 start following 4 games with Jefferson College out of Missouri this past weekend. Who are y'all playing in Millington on Saturday?
We have 11 o'clock start with Glen Oaks, and then a 1:30 matchup against Northwest Mississippi.
Now, I'm told that they've really made some improvements to the complex out there. Are y'all aware? Have y'all seen what's going on over there?
Yeah, so I think they've added at least 5 or 6 fields and looking to add maybe 7 or 8, 9. Looking to add significantly few more. But the main stadium field is there, and I believe it was the site for the 1990 U.S. Olympic team or something like that. But all turf complex, pretty nice little area, becoming more of a hot spot for baseball.
Now, you guys follow up the trip to Millington on Saturday with a stop down in Marianna, Florida for the Chipola Invitational. You finally get back to Dave Hall Field on February 25th and 26th against Kalamazoo Valley. Couple of double headers there. What else do local folks need to know about you guys here as you get ready to, get 2023 rolling?
Just come out to the ballpark, watch some games. Like I said, I think it's going to be a very exciting brand of baseball as usual, but we'll represent very well. And again, like I said, we know what this program represents here to the people and of Columbia and surrounding areas, and we want to just withhold that and be the best we can be and remember the heritage that's come before us.
Yeah, and I think just follow along with us throughout the season. I mean, we talked about it at practice yesterday. Is you just got to keep on pounding that stone, and that's been a philosophy we've ingrained in our guys and ourselves over the last 8 years, 10 years, however long we've been here. Just keep pounding the stone. I think this group, they're a hard-nosed, blue-collar group, and if you come out to the ballpark and watch us, I think week by week you'll see Columbia State improving, and then come May when tournament time comes, I think we'll be right where we want to be. Battle tested, going like you said, going down to Marianna, playing some of the top teams in the country, and really getting it up, getting things rolling.
Guys, we appreciate it so much, and we look forward to getting out to Dave Hall Field and to Columbia State here soon to see you guys play. Desi Ammons and Cody Crutcher, co-coaches at Columbia State Community College. And if you are around, if you're watching this from other parts, it's not like you can't go see them at Vol State or anywhere else around.
Yeah, they open TCCAA play on March 3rd with a series here against Roane State, and then they go to Dyersburg State the following weekend. So, check the website, check the Twitter account at Chargers1451 to keep up with them. Guys, we appreciate y'all coming on with us.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate what you guys do, and thanks again.
All right.
Y'all have a good one. We're going to hand out some hardware, Mo. We've got a little bit of hardware to hand out. It's that time.
It's Thursday.
It's Thursday.
We hand out hardware on Thursday.
And that's what we do.
Exactly.
So we'll start with the End to Win Life Team of the Week presented by Custom Stone Handlers. You can give them a call at 931-490-4990 or just visit customstonehandlers.com, because outside of the Military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. Mo?
Richland girls won 3 games last week, defeated Athens of Alabama 41-34, and won a couple of district games against Santa Fe and Hampshire. And so moving up to number 7 in this week's Associated Press poll, which we'll be talking more about that in just a second. But
Athens, a Class 6A school, by the way. They are a 6A program. So a win over Athens is pretty solid for a school as small as Richland.
Well, and that makes the Lady Raiders our Into Win Life Team of the Week.
All right. And our Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Athlete of the Week from right here in Columbia.
Oh, and you caught me off guard.
It's okay. It's coming up.
Oh, okay. It's Savia Morgan, the junior guard from Columbia Central, who averaged 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 steals in a pair of games. Scored 18 as the Lady Lions defeated Summit 48-28. So Savia Morgan, who you may have heard of for her softball exploit, speaking of multi-sport athletes, but she is our MTBJ Athlete of the Week this week. So.
There you go. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got some high school hoops to get to, Mr. and Miss Basketball finalists, as well as AP polls. So stick around here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll be right back after these short messages.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow, Mo Patton, and we're talking a little high school hoops in this segment. Got a lot going on. District tournaments are underway in Division II and will soon be underway in Division I after tonight, tomorrow, and a couple of games on Monday for one district out in the Wilson County area. They got some makeups they got to get played. So we're going to be joined on Monday by 4 area reporters. Will have Charles Pulliam of the Williamson Herald join us, and he'll be in a roundtable discussion with Tommy Bryan and the two of us. And Tommy's got a couple of games that on Monday night that he said will bear watching, so that both of them will determine number 1 and number 2 in the district. So kind of a big deal.
It's kind of what you want.
Yeah.
Right at the end of the year,
So-
something that's going to decide it. So Tommy Bryan of the Wilson Post, again, Charles Pulliam of the Williamson Herald. We'll also have Brady McAtamney from Main Street Clarksville and Blaine Keller from
Main Street Preps, but he covering Robertson County and everywhere else.
Yeah.
The guys from Main Street Preps North, the MSP North show. So we'll talk to them about what else is going on in their areas and just kind of have some discussion about high school hoops. It's going to be a really, really fun day. Now,
Try to get you ready for the postseason.
That's going to happen on Monday. Obviously, Sunday, there's a pretty big deal. there's a football game I hear on Sunday, and we'll talk about that as well. But join us for some high school hoops talk on Monday, because you won't find that anywhere else. Now, before we get into the polls, let's talk a little bit about some individual awards. Mo, you have it linked here that Mr. and Miss Basketball finalists, so they don't do semifinalists like football. So Mr. and Miss Basketball finalists have been announced, and that is available on twsaa.org. So let's go through it.
The awards will be presented on Monday, March 13th at Murphy Center prior to the boys state tournament, the Division I boys state tournament. So yeah, let's see. Let's start with Division 2A Miss Basketball finalists. Oh, I'm sorry. What?
No, you're right.
I'm right.
I was telling them.
Okay. All right. D2A Miss Basketball finalists. We got a couple of mid-staters, Jalen Banks from Middle Tennessee Christian and Angelica Velez from Webb, along with Trinity Christian's Olivia Lee. In D2AA, Jelani Cambridge from Ensworth, Jaylee Clarkson from Briarcrest, and Sydney Maines from Knoxville Catholic are your finalists. In Class 1A, Wayne County's Blair Bogus. Greg Seitz his favorite, by the way. Lindsay Ramsey from Unaca and Kylie Reynolds from McKenzie. Class 2A, you've got York Institute's Reese Beatty, Westview's Jada Harrison, who won it last year, I believe, and Maddie Newman from Gatlinburg-Pittman. 3A Miss Basketball finalists Lauren Bailey from Greenville, Abigail Johnson from Upperman, and Tamia Lawson from Jackson Southside. In 4A, Amari Berry from Clarksville is joined by Mallory Collier of Bartlett and Avery Treadwell from Bearden. So those are your Miss Basketball finalists.
Interesting that in Class 2A, Mac Bramer out of Alcoa, not in that, averaging 25 points a game for a team that's lost once on the year. So that's interesting, with especially with the Gatlinburg-Pittman player on there, and they've beaten them twice. That's yeah. All right, there you go. On the boys' side, Division II, Class A, Isaiah West at a good pasture. Not surprised there.
Vandy signee.
Pretty darn good, along with Eddie Ricks III of Clarksville Academy, who is
Moorhead signee, I believe.
Moorhead signee, and was
last year.
I don't know, but he was one of the really, really impressive athletes on their football team. I mean, just another multi-sport kid that just looks.
Did he win Mr. Football?
I think he did win Mr. Football. So, I mean,
I don't know that you've had too many guys win both.
Wouldn't you love to see it? That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? We're apparently having trouble connecting, Mo. So, we await. Okay, well, we can be heard, so we're best heard, not seen anyway.
Yeah, right.
Division II 2A, Mr. Basketball finalists, Knox Catholics, DeAndre Lindsay, Tyler Tanner of Brentwood Academy, and Lucas Walls of Knoxville Webb. Class 1A, Mr. Basketball, Jason Britton, North Green, Caden Buckles of Hampton, and if they don't call him Caden Buckets, then I don't really know what
somebody's
we're doing
really
here.
missing out.
Yeah. And Roderick Robinson Jr. That's a new one for me. Roderick. I like it. Normally Roderick or Roger, but Roderick. I'm a fan. Hey. Class 2A, Mr. Basketball, Jordan Allen of Hillcrest, Javen Carter of Alcoa, and Jalen Jones of East Nashville. I think the Jays are going to take that one. Class 3A, Tylen Chapman of Haywood, Shane Cherry of Austin East, and Demarion Yates of Fayette Ware. And, of course, Jared Hall in Class 4A, along with Brock Weiss of Houston and Jordan Frison of Memphis Overton. Those are your boys finalists. So let's how about that? I tell you, Did you ever find out? Did we find out about Eddie Ricks?
I'm not seeing it yet. And I think it's in part because my internet is a little slow.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I think he did, in fact, win Mr. Football.
Hang on.
So that is something.
We can come back to this, but let's get to your AP polls.
Let's get to the AP polls.
Yeah.
We got a few minutes. We want to get to that. So we're starting class 4A, Division 1. Independence currently there. Did lose to now unranked Franklin earlier this week by 1 point. So we'll see how that makes a change. Bartlett drops all the way to 4th from their 3rd position as William Blunt moves up. Hillsboro still sitting at number 2. Cleveland moves in after not being ranked last week, and Rossview is up to 7th from 9th. Bradley Central down from 7th to 10th.
Going back. Right school, wrong kid.
I knew Clarksville Academy kid won it, but I couldn't remember which kid it was.
DJ Merriweather.
There we go.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that you've had a school have Mr. Basketball and Mr. Football in the same year too often. But,
yeah.
All right, Class 3A. Not much around here. Lawrence County is all the way down to 9th now and lost again this week. So we'll see how that impacts their ranking. Will next week be the final rankings, I assume?
I believe so.
Okay. Class 2A, East Nashville still undefeated. Great basketball game last night. Pearl Cone really pushed East Nashville, and it was apparently a raucous crowd
I'm sure
on hand, which it always is between those two schools. But even Mayor John Cooper was in the building. It was pretty crazy.
Okay.
Fairview's still sitting at number 2.
Despite that loss to Dixon County.
Yeah. Well, I think we talked about last week because it was 2 weeks ago they lost, but we were talking about there were some other teams that lost behind them because everybody else seemed to move down last week. And even this time, Kingston and Cascade flipped. Of course, Cascade just 1 point off of that number 2 spot with Fairview. Outside of that, everybody else not from here. But yeah, Fairview's a very good basketball team. I'm excited to see them. I'm not excited to see them if I'm a Summertown Loretto fan, but but Fairview's going to be tough to beat.
And the region is at Fairview.
Oh, that's even there you go. Class 1A, Richland
up to 3.
Richland up to 3.
Big game Saturday night in Cross Plains when Richland goes to number 5 East Robertson.
Now, Santa Fe moved up after losing to Richland. Interesting. I mean, again, Santa Fe tonight at Perry County. They've got that's a big cross region game there. Be interesting to see how this week's performances impact. But boy, they've got scores everywhere. Eagleville sitting at number 10, falling from 7. And then again, Frank Hughes. So weird to see Frank Hughes getting votes, man.
Got a pretty good team down there, apparently.
I mean, for the last 4 or 5 years, every time I see Frank Hughes, they were getting drubbed.
Well, and when those kids stay together through those drubbings,
let's go.
Eventually they get to hand out a few. So kudos to them.
Heck yeah. I'm happy for Frank Hughes. East Robertson, number 5, up from 6. Saturday, number 3, number 5. Don't miss it.
Yep. At the house that David Colley built.
David Colley out of Wayne County.
Yeah.
But more famously,
won a few gold balls up there at East Rob. So
let's see. What is Blaine's sports_BK?
Follow him.
You're going to want to follow him on Saturday for reports from the Richland East Robertson game. He says the girls' game won't be very good, but the boys will be worth the price of admission.
And then some, I'm sure.
So make sure that if you can't get up there to East Robertson, I'd probably follow sports_BK. D2. Any surprises here?
I don't think so.
Lausanne getting a couple first place votes.
Still kind of feel like it's good pasture and everybody else for now.
I think so too. Clarksville Academy still right there. Davidson Academy with a couple of votes. MBA and CPA in Class 2A, as well as Brentwood Academy. Briarcrest still holding pretty strong, but Brentwood right there behind, just 2 points out of the number one spot. So they're coming for the number one spot.
Scream, and plot.
That's right.
Yeah.
Girls side, Class 4A. Blackman still right there. Bearden, of course, undefeated on the year after their comeback win over Alcoa to keep that 0. Blackman, again, still right there. Coffee County still right there. Interested to see Blackman move up over Bradley and Coffee County. I'm curious what Blackman did to get there. So that's interesting.
Kudos to Warren County slipping in there at number 10 in a tie after previously being unranked.
Man, it's pretty interesting to watch the points just kind of go, all the way down to 13. I mean, that's how tough Class 4A is to kind of see and predict. Class 3A, Upperman up to 2 from 3. Livingston Academy down from 2. Big move for Lincoln County and White County. Lincoln County, who lost to Lawrence County, by the way.
Lincoln County lost 52-50 to Lawrence County on Monday and trailed Spring Hill 28-25, I think, late in the second quarter on Tuesday night before eventually pulling away to win that one in the second half.
So that's okay. So Livingston lost to Upperman and White County last week.
Oof.
So that tells you.
And I assume that those are both district games, right?
Yeah. Again, Upperman 2, Livingston Academy 4, White County 7. Pretty tough district.
Cumberland may be in that district. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's a good. They are, in fact, in that district. So yeah, if you're the rest of that district, you're just upset. Anyway,
that's tough.
Class 2A, Westview undefeated, still number 1. Alcoa did get one first place vote, but they stick at number 3. Pretty much chalk held. Huntingdon and McMinn Central flipped, but I mean, it's about 1 point. So, I think those top 4 teams and really Alcoa's beaten Gatlinburg Pittman enough times, but we've seen it. When you get to the glass house, you don't know what's going to happen. And that's what I keep saying that, watch out. Any of those 4 teams can win state, I think. Class 1A, we know Richland's in there. They're at 7.
The number 7 here and number 2 in their district behind undefeated Wayne County.
That sits atop. That's tough.
It is. It is.
So, as we were just talking about with District 7, Class 3A. So, in Division 2, Innsworth still at number 1. Harpeth Hall getting a vote, and CPA coming in at number 5. Webb Bell Buckle still atop the Class A poll with Nashville Christian still getting 4 first place votes. So some folks hanging out on them. They're just, no. And here's the thing: it doesn't matter. We're going to find out, but I mean, I don't see any teams not playing Nashville Christian. Webb Bell Buckles probably set the record for most 2-0 wins in a year this year.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. So there you go. I think that's it for the AP polls. We do have some softball to talk about. It's opening day for Division I softball, and happy opening day it is. Maren Angus will join us here in just a few moments. We hope. Hopefully, Justin's been able to get in touch with her, but we'll get to her and much more right after this on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. Y'all stick around.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
This is Chris Yow with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat.
She's on Thinking Out Loud, presented by Regions, and Out of Pocket with Alyssa Lang. It is, in fact, Alyssa Lang.
I'm a little nervous. I'm going to lower the bar for guests now.
Oh, no.
Like, apologies in advance. It sounds like
SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey.
You got that radio voice.
I do.
It's
a good sound.
Thanks
for radio too.
As do we. And then here's the other thing. You guys, you're spot on with the name. Everybody wants to be on Main Street. Everybody wants to be on Main Street. So,
and we reach every Main Street in Middle Tennessee, Coach.
Yeah, that's it. So
Perfect.
when you are on Main Street and you are moving,
you gotta love it.
Like you're moving. I was impressed.
I'm glad someone. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow and Mo Patton here with you on this beautiful Thursday, opening day of D1 softball. It's so much fun. Looking forward to having a little conversation about my favorite yellow ball, little softball here. See, we have softball. We love softball here. And that's why anytime we get a chance to talk to our resident softball expert, Maren Angus Combs, we will do that. So, Maren, welcome in. Thanks for taking some time with us. How are you?
I'm good. How are y'all? Long time no talk.
It has been a while. Glad to get you on. You've been on the move though, so
kind of, yeah.
It's good to be able to catch up with you. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I tune into your show. I comment. I pay attention to what y'all are talking about.
She knows all the lacrosse answers, remember?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we didn't have any of them.
I'm glad she does. So what is your lacrosse background anyway?
My brother played. So he played my brother played lacrosse when he was in high school. A lot of the hockey players did. So the hockey players that makes
sense. Yeah.
I don't know if it still is this way, but Sumner County had like a major co-op lacrosse team. So they were called the Hendersonville Spartans, and it was Hendersonville High School, Beach High School, Station Camp High School. Basically everyone not named JP2 played on this team. And they won a state championship. He got a state championship ring and everything. See?
That's funny. You say your brother played. I remember being at a board of control meeting when lacrosse was being discussed, and one of the board of control members said something to me during a recess that one of the great things about lacrosse is, these kids don't have to worry about getting yelled at by their parents because none of their parents played. So they got no clue what's going on.
Genius.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's true.
That would be the sport to play because
I can't tell you.
I can't tell you a thing. Just go play.
It is very
have fun.
It's very similar to hockey. If you understand hockey, you can watch lacrosse and get through a game.
Well,
Gotcha.
there we go. I don't understand.
Don't understand hockey either, so we're good.
But I do understand softball, though. So
that's good.
it starts this weekend. Is that right? Is that
Today?
starting?
Let's go.
Today.
Fire me up.
So, what's the big event that you're keeping an eye on this weekend?
Oh, well, this weekend I am keeping an eye on, well, there's a couple of tournaments to keep an eye on. There's the Mark Campbell Invitational in California that I'm paying attention to online. And then there's I've got the D1 softball scoreboard up so that I know what time everything is at, and I can just click and watch whatever I want, basically. So the Puerto Vallarta Challenge is going on right now too. That's another good one. And yeah, there's a lot.
Got a top 10 match. Top 15 matchup tonight.
Georgia
Down in
UCF.
Orlando. Yeah.
Yes.
It's starting off with a bang.
There you go.
Softball doesn't play around. We don't play cupcakes here.
Announce your presence with authority. Softball is back, and here we go. Yeah. Okay.
There are so many
the
top 25
Duke.
matchups going on right now.
Yeah. Upstart Duke gets #1 Oklahoma tonight.
And Duke
is that?
just played Washington. And that's another top 25. That just ended.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That's a hell of a way to start your year. Here, we're going to let you play Washington. Oh, okay. So who do we get next? Oklahoma. Well, that's okay. Tough start for the Lady Devils, but that's what makes you that's what makes you earn it. Makes you feel good at the end of the year.
But the real good Oklahoma hitter graduated, right?
No,
yes. The best one.
Yes.
I know they've got a bunch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Relative.
Yeah, but their best one.
Yes.
Graduated. What's her name? Tell me. Remind me.
Jocelyn Allo.
Yeah,
Jocelyn. Yeah, that's the
not
one.
Kaylani Ricketts.
But
that was 30 years ago.
We're going back a ways, aren't we?
Yeah, that was. I don't know. I was. It's a good question. She was the best one. Okay.
Yes. No, but Jocelyn Allo graduated, but they've got another really good one.
They've got a.
No, they have a whole lineup full.
No, there's one player in particular who had a really good WCWS last year, but Allo is the one that everybody. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I know a little something.
Maren, when we talk about D1 softball, obviously in the Southeast, SEC is pretty good at it. Now, obviously, Oklahoma, UCLA, they're probably the two best teams in the country, and it's really not close after that. But there are 13 Southeastern Conference teams that play softball. 9 of them are in the top 25. That's pretty good, right?
I do, yeah. And some of them may be generous. I need to see some more proof of some of the ones that are ranked down towards the bottom of the top 25. But
yeah, Auburn, Ole Miss-ish. You're like, maybe.
Nah. I think LSU's down there too.
LSU 17th. They weren't ranked in the top 25 last year. But, it's still the SEC, and they're still really deep.
I know. I'm waiting for you to mention the team that starts with Alla and ends in Bama.
I don't talk about them. We don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about Alabama. You and I will have a conversation off air about the of Alabama.
And once you have that conversation, everything will become clear, Maren. But Alabama is a dirty word for Chris when it comes to softball. And it's very personal.
Now that being said, they do have a very good program, and probably, they have one of the best pitchers in the country in Montana Fouts, and anytime you have Montana Fouts, you have an opportunity to win.
They do have a local kid too. A couple local kids.
Yeah. Anyway.
Hey.
Couple of kids from kid from Page, kid from Centennial.
Sisters.
They are sisters.
Okay.
They got good pasture too.
Again. That might be the dirty word of the century right there. And not to disparage a kid, but
we just really need to change this subject here.
Yeah, let's just not talk about Alabama anymore. Can we talk about Arkansas or something? Because they're good.
Sure.
We like them. Florida State plays Lipscomb tonight. How about Lipscomb? Let's talk about Lipscomb. Go Bisons.
Ooh. Where is that? Is that in Tallahassee?
It's in Tallahassee.
Is that a series?
No, it's a tournament. It's Florida State's tournament.
Who else is down there? That's
It's a great question.
I can tell you, as a matter of fact, it's Longwood, Lipscomb, and Purdue.
Interesting. That's an interesting field.
It's awfully light, isn't it? I mean, compared to Washington, having to play Washington and Oklahoma back to back.
Well, but here's the deal: when you're hosting a tournament,
that's right.
You're going to make
you get to
sure
pick.
that
That's
you're
right.
in front of the home folks.
Mm-hmm.
You get to pick.
So they are apparently playing Lipscomb twice at 4 and 6 today. They're playing Longwood twice at 1:30 tomorrow and 2:30 on Saturday, and then they're finishing up against Purdue at 4:45. I don't know.
It's only one game against Purdue.
Who else plays? Who else wins? Yeah.
Only one against Purdue, Maren.
Yeah. You figured that out, huh?
Hey,
again,
don't sleep on Lipscomb.
Your tournament,
Come
your
on.
rules, right?
That's right.
Listen, I don't sleep on any ASUN teams, being a fan of an ASUN team. So I sleep on none of them. It's, college softball, Maren, is just booming right now. And so much, in fact, that there are some new softball leagues popping up across the country that you know very well. Are you surprised with how dominant Oklahoma and UCLA have been able to be over the last couple of years, and doesn't look like that's going to change?
I think, first of all, no, I'm not surprised at all. For some reason, I feel like in softball, the rich get richer and the poor get poor. And when you have established programs like those two, everyone wants to play for them. I mean, look at Oklahoma. Like, they got 3 All-American transfers into the program. Like, they don't lose anything. They just keep they just refill whatever. It doesn't even, the tank doesn't ever empty. It just keeps. It's like my grandmother, how she only lets her car get down to 3/4 of a tank, and then she puts gas back in. Like, that's what it's like. They go down to 3/4 of a tank and then refill.
That said, Maren, how do programs like Clemson and Duke, when you talk about established programs, how do programs that have been on the scene for such a short period of time manage to be as successful as they have been, as quickly as they have been? Now, I mean, obviously they've not made it to Oklahoma City to this point, but they've certainly been in the mix to do so. How have they been able to do it so quickly?
I think it takes the athletic department really backing the program. They have to support the program in order for it to be successful. With Clemson, think Clemson has a fan base that just goes crazy for every sport. And I think with Duke, they really embraced the sport, and they brought in a group of student athletes who wanted to set the standard. And we're seeing more programs start up. Wofford, they're going to start up next season, I believe. So we're seeing more of this. Candace, if you're listening, we're still waiting on that one in Nashville to happen. It's just
yes, we are.
Candace has been on the show. Maybe it's time for us to get her back on. But I was gonna go there. You beat me to the punch. You know, obviously we were all a little disappointed with the announcement that Vanderbilt is bringing back volleyball and not bringing softball. And obviously there are hurdles that you would have to get over to bring softball to Vanderbilt when they've already got a gym. So, but you just feel like softball is the no-brainer at Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
We do.
Feels like to me.
Yeah.
It feels like to me that the baseball program may outgrow the Hawk if they haven't already outgrown the Hawk. And I feel like the ideal situation would be for the baseball program to get a new baseball stadium somewhere, right? And then maybe softball fits in where the Hawk is now.
To that footprint.
Yeah, you can't build a bigger baseball stadium where that is. It's just tucked, it's tucked in between the football stadium and the gym. Like, what are you going to do right there? So I don't know. That's an idea. I've always said the other option would be to partner with USN next door. They have their river campus off Briley West. It's out by the prison, I think. And you could build a softball stadium there and have it be the focal point of that river campus. I mean, the kids will always be there practicing, having their
which
games
is where Tennessee State. I think Tennessee State was talking about potentially building a baseball stadium over there if they were going to start baseball back up. So who knows?
I don't know. I don't know where they would go. And I think if baseball were to get a new stadium on campus, then I think all hell would break loose, just because this has been the argument against softball for so long. We're so landlocked, where would we put it, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden they come up with a site for a baseball stadium.
Yeah.
How does that fly? Unless you put where the Hawk is now. And I think you would almost have to do it that way if you were going to do it. So maybe that's the way it works out. But it just feels like softball, when you talk about how academically and softball players tend to be, and it just feels like it would be a no-brainer at Vanderbilt, and it's felt that way for 25 years probably.
And they would immediately be competitive just because of the SEC. You would bring in players left and right. And I know it would be a desirable job for a high-level coach to come in and run that program. And I know that the location, they'll be able to recruit from everywhere. That's not just the state of Tennessee, but everyone wants to be in Nashville. And everyone wants to be, I'm not going to say everyone wants to be in the SEC, obviously, but a lot of girls have the dream of playing in the SEC. So you take that, you compare it to Duke, you compare it to Northwestern, you compare it to Stanford. Two of those teams made the Women's College World Series.
Now, you just mentioned, and I want to get off. Everybody wants to be in the SEC, and again, those 9 teams in the top 25. It feels like this particular season in the SEC, with what Arkansas did last year, with the improvement of teams like Auburn and LSU potentially being very good. What does that do for softball, not just in the South, but really across the country? When the SEC starts doing well, they start putting games on the SEC network. The ACC starts putting games on the ACC network, and the Big Ten starts putting games on the Big Ten network. And the game just grows to a massive, point to where softball has become kind of the go-to sport for girls, in my opinion, for young girls.
Right. And there was news that came out today from Oklahoma. So Red River is supposed to be in Norman this season. They announced they're moving the first game of the series to Hall of Fame Stadium.
Wow.
That's a regular season game for the first game of the national championship rematch that's going to be played at Hall of Fame Stadium.
Because of the ticket.
Because of the ticket. Exactly. So instead of having a couple thousand in Norman, they're going to probably have more like 10,000 in Oklahoma City.
Tennessee and Texas play this weekend. That'll be pretty big too. Of course, it's in Clearwater, Florida. But it is a massive sport in such a short amount of time that stadiums haven't been able to keep up with the folks that want to be in them. I mean, that they just haven't. And obviously, Rhodes has gone closer to a massive stadium, but for the most part, the stadiums just aren't there to meet the demand of the ticket. Are we going to start seeing softball stadiums kind of grow like baseball stadiums have?
We're going to have to. But I don't see I don't see it slowing down anytime soon. I only see it getting bigger. And I mean, you see it. It's in the numbers don't lie. More people who watch the Women's College World Series than the men's. And that's been steady for the past few years. There are over 3,000 softball games being broadcasted across the ESPN family of networks this year. 3,000. That's insane. That's a lot. In what, 3 months? 3.5 months? There's going to be over 3,000 games.
Well, yes. And the reason I bring that up is because you are a part owner in a new league called the Heartland Collegiate League. Well, there's also a Music City Collegiate League that just announced that they'll be playing games at Austin Peay. And then that goes along with the Gulf Coast League. They're a little more established. Am I correct? The Florida Gulf Coast League has been playing for a while. Yeah. Now, tell me a little bit about these collegiate leagues. What are they?
It is exactly what baseball has in the summer. The wooden bat leagues, the prep leagues, whatever you want to call it. Except this is a new concept for softball.
Sure.
And what we have in softball is the ability for freshmen to, if they still qualify for the age group, they could go back and play 18 and under ball in the summer if they need reps. But everyone else, there's nothing for them. So with baseball, these guys know in September, right, what they're going to do next summer. And they haven't even started practice yet. But
gotcha.
So with the Florida Gulf Coast League, it started during COVID, unfortunately, but it has grown into a main it's a mainstay in the summer. And that has spread across the country. There are girls that come from the West Coast that go play in Florida. So then it became, well, why not? Why not have more of these leagues throughout the country? And that inspired the owner to launch the Nashville League, the Music City League. And that's going to be played in Austin P. It's basically a Clarksville-based league. So they're going to live in Clarksville. They're going to play in Clarksville. The city of Clarksville is behind this league. And then that led to my husband and I deciding, hey, well, if there's going to be one in Nashville, in the middle Tennessee area, why not bring one out here to Nebraska? Let's see how that works, because there's so much talent in the Midwest. And you see it. I mean, Jordy Ball is one of the faces of the sport right now, and she is from Omaha, Nebraska. So we decided to launch this league in hopes that we'd get a lot of these Midwest folks to come play with us. And then a couple weeks ago, the owner said, hey, let's launch a West Coast league. So now there's a Vegas league.
Wow.
So now there's 4 locations that these girls have to choose from. Now I think there are a couple other leagues that are individual, in different parts of the country. There's one in Los Angeles. There was one in South Carolina. But
you guys are kind of connected.
We're connected, right? So we are the American Collegiate League, and there will be like a World Series
like
at
a tournament of the champions,
right?
Basically,
yes, exactly.
Tournament of champions. There you go. I just named it for you.
Jeopardy on that.
Let's get that. Let's get out there. Maren, obviously this is a fantastic time of year. It's one of my favorite parts of the years when softball starts, and I know it is for you as well. And I am looking forward to all of this weekend's games, because there are some good ones out there, just not to knock Lipscomb, but probably not going to choose Florida State Lipscomb over Duke, Oklahoma, or something like that, but that's okay.
That's okay.
But it's the most wonderful time of the year for some of us. And
absolutely.
I know you're excited, but before we get you out of here, we need you to tell us who's going to win the World Series.
Oklahoma.
That's such it's such a terror. Like, you don't want to make that pick, but you kind of can't not make that pick, right?
I feel like it's everyone's pick right now, right? Like, everyone's picking Oklahoma, and then if you don't pick them, you're gonna look like a fool at the end of the year when they do win.
Yeah, well, I'm taking Florida State.
Oh,
going Noles all the way.
Okay.
So, throwing that out there, Florida State is going to win the Women's College World Series. I have no real reason other than I just got a gut feeling.
Other than they're playing Lipscomb today.
They're playing that. Hey, they're going to start the season strong and they're going to end it stronger.
Okay.
Got to do what you got to do.
Florida State. I'm taking Oklahoma to the bank.
I don't blame you. It's a cop-out pick, but but it's not. You know what I mean? Like, it's like picking Georgia to win the SEC this past year. Like, it's a cop-out pick, but what are you going to do? Yeah,
right.
I feel you. But well, thanks for joining us as always. It is a pleasure, and we look forward to talking more softball down the road.
Thanks.
All right, we are coming up on the end of the show here, and the NBA trade deadline was the only other thing that I really wanted to talk about. It's getting absolutely bonkers, and I'm really curious if we're going to see the Grizzlies make a move. It's not looking good, but we'll see what happens. Of course, you've got Russ getting out of LA, and Durant is now with the Suns. So, and the most recent thing, Gary Payton II to the Warriors for 5 second-round picks. Go figure. It's getting nuts. So there you go. That's going to do it for today's show. We appreciate you hanging out with us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. We're back tomorrow, same bat time at 2 o'clock till 3:30. Until then, see you later.